talk about what derogatory items are. Can you give us an idea of what's on that list? You know, like late payments, evictions,
Yeah.
what else?
Yep, late payments, bankruptcies, foreclosures, short sales,
Repossessions,
tax liens,
charge-offs.
charge-offs,
Yeah,
all that.
all that stuff. Judgments, I guess, of
Judgments.
any kind. That's a big one. That's a huge problem for sure.
Problem.
So ladies, I want you all to get your questions ready related to this. Are there certain derogatory items that are worse than others?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Bankruptcies
Okay.
initially.
So
you know.
that's probably on the spectrum of the worst.
Yes.
Okay.
Foreclosure.
Okay. Got to be at the top of the list. All right.
Yeah. Short sale. I'm going in sitting order. And then bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sale, and then tax liens,
Mhm.
judgments.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, your standard collections and your repossessions and all of that, definitely. But the ones I named, the ones before, the ones that are public records, see, the bankruptcy and the tax liens, judgments, they're going to be public record.
Right. And so ladies, you want to look at this list. So these numbers aren't exact, but they're close, just to kind of give you an idea of if you have late payments, how it can impact your score. So late payments all the way down to the hard inquiries, what the impact is on your credit score.
We actually have a question. Would you consider student loans derogatory items?
No.
Even if they're in deferment, not paying them?
Well, yeah, if you're not paying them.
So, but we're talking about deferment, not default though. So if
Right.
someone's in deferment, so it's not a big deal.
That's not derogatory.
Okay, nice.
So only if you're not paying, you're in default is the only time.
Oh, yeah, if you're in default, yeah, that's the problem. But if you have student loans and they're in forbearance or they're in deferment, that's not derogatory on your credit.
And so for women, for those of us who do have derogatory items on our credit, how do we know if we should leave it alone? Because certain things have been there for a while versus we need to take care of it. Like, how do you know what your strategy should be?
So for the purpose of mortgage financing, I always say leave it alone. Because when you start poking at it, you start, wanting to make settlements, you're basically
It's like reviving.
I was
Right.
trying to think of which word, reactivating, reviving.
Right.
Yeah. That's not what you want to do for the purposes of scores because it's a derogatory item.
Okay.
And therefore, the bureaus are not smart enough to know that the action you're taking, you're trying to make it positive.
Okay. So if you have you have this past due debt and say, you owe $1,000 and maybe you're trying to settle. So should you just leave it alone and not pay anything? You owe $1,000, you say, hey, I'm gonna make you all an offer and pay $200, $300. What's the best thing to
Is
do?
your purpose that you're trying to get qualified for a mortgage or you just want to clear your credit report? Because it's two different things.
So first, I'm trying to get qualified for a mortgage.
Then no.
Don't even settle.
Don't settle because like I said, when you start settling or
Right.
any activity you have with that account, it's going to make it like they just put it on there. It's going to make it new again. So
Okay.
it's going to affect your score. It's going to bring your
Interesting.
score down.
Huh.
So what we have to do though, whatever your open collection amount is if the aggregate amount is over 2,000, then
Right.
we have to count 5% as a debt. So if it's not going to cause a debt to income ratio issue, then just leave it open.
Okay. So I want you to repeat what you just said about the aggregate balance. So explain that.
So if you have 5 collections and they're $600 a piece.
Okay.
So now your aggregate total is 3,000.
Right.
So now I have to count 5% of that 3,000 as a debt. Like I would a car note or credit card or.
Okay, because you're basically saying you're counting that 5% because you're anticipating that I'm going to have to make some payments.
Absolutely
towards
cannot.
that.
That is
Gotcha.
correct.
Okay.
So smart.
Thank you. I'm like, why are they trying to count it? But that makes
That's
perfect
worst
sense.
case scenario.
Okay.
In case they come at you for a
Right.
payment, we've counted against you.
And so you have worked that in to make sure that I have the capacity to pay this mortgage and to pay this past due debt that they might be coming after me. Okay, we got it. We got it. We're gonna say Annie.
They are blowing up.
Okay.
Whoa, whoa.
We got y'all. We got
Wanda
y'all.
was first, so you want to go ahead and unmute yourself.
Was that old?
Hold on, it's not old. I'm having some issues.
Okay.
So I can't see y'all, but I wanted to know, we were going back to the derogatory things on your credit. And you said liens or things of that nature, of course, obviously are derogatory. If the lien has been released, how does that affect it? Or is it removed from your credit or just by virtue of it showing that there was a lien?
As long as it's released, we're okay with that. We're not
Okay.
gonna hold that against you. It's already done whatever it's gonna do to your score. But it
Okay.
stays on your credit for 10 years because it's a public record. But it does
Okay.
show it's released. Yeah, release is the verbiage they use for the tax lien.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
you, Wanda. Who's next, Annie?
Crystal, would you unmute yourself so you can ask your question? I want to hear your voices, ladies.
Come on, Crystal.
Hi, I was asking, say you were able to remove a derogatory account from one of your credit profiles, like say Experian, but the creditor refuses to remove from the other two, like
The other two bureaus,
TransUnion and
Experian.
yeah. How do you go about getting it removed from those two?
So let me make sure I understand. So the creditor refuses, is the creditor refusing to remove it, or are you just lucky and you got, I mean, that doesn't make sense because the creditor has to address it with any of the bureaus.
Right.
Right.
So normally they, if they remove it from one,
They
they'll
remove it from all
They
three.
typically do. from
But
all
they
three.
won't. So they've removed it from the Experian, but for the Equifax and the TransUnion, they refuse to remove it.
Because of what, Crystal?
I was just about to say why.
I have no idea.
Or are you, Crystal, are you sure it was ever on Experian? Because every creditor
was.
does not report to
It
all
was.
three.
It was there, okay.
It was there. Mhm.
I don't know about that one. I don't know. Because that's not normally the case. It's
Yeah.
normally, because if they remove it, if they're willing to remove it, then that means they're releasing liability for you. So it doesn't matter what bureau it's with.
Crystal, when you
Right.
talk to them, have you asked to speak to somebody at more of a management level versus the person who's answering the phone?
I actually just did the dispute letter,
Okay,
and I saw that it was removed from the Experian, but not from the other two.
okay,
And so I went about it again, and they basically just updated the profile. They didn't remove anything.
okay. But you filed your dispute with the other two credit reporting agencies?
Yes,
Okay. And then again,
I
when you-
filed all three at the same time.
you filed all three at the same time. And
Mhm.
whenever, ladies, whenever y'all are talking to the creditors, more than likely, you're never going to get help from the person who answers the phone. You immediately want to ask for their supervisor because you want to talk to somebody who has the authority to make a decision. That first person is designed to essentially make us go away.
Yes.
So you want to get to the next person who has decision-making authority. So that's what I would do if I were you. And it's probably going to take you several calls. But I would be keeping a log, date and time, who I talked to, and the facts that they removed it from one, and to get them to make a commitment to remove the other two.
Can I ask another question? I hope it's not personal.
No, it's okay.
Is it accurate or is it a true? Is it not accurate? Because you can dispute, but that doesn't mean that you know that it's not right, right? So did you dispute it and you know for a fact that it's wrong? Or did you dispute it and you got it removed from Experian by the grace of God and they're not gonna remove it from the other two?
No, I wish it was that. It was an insurance bill, and I switched insurance.
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, they didn't cut the insurance when I switched over.
Was it
And
medical?
so no, it was car insurance.
Oh, car insurance, gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah. So I
Mhm.
already had switched over, cut the account, but they didn't cut it automatically. They charged me an extra month.
Yeah.
So there was a whole dispute about that.
There's a whole dispute about
Yeah,
that.
so you got it, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, that one is gonna be a little bit more complicated to navigate.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is, but don't give up on it.
No,
especially if
I would
you
be
young.
fighting to the end for that, for sure.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
I think we
Thank
have to
you.
understand the amount of effort that some of this can take though, because it could take a
It
while.
does, they want you to give up.
So I had a question regarding medical bills. So I had some weird stuff when I had a stint in the hospital, and I was like, forget these people. How bad is that?
We don't count medical bills against you for the mortgage process. You don't,
Okay.
that's not part of the aggregate total,
Yes.
total,
Okay.
just, but it does, I mean, because it's a collection, it still hits your score like a collection,
Right.
but it doesn't stop you, or we don't count that against you on the mortgage side,
Okay.
no matter how big it is.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No, that's very helpful to know. And then just so that we understand too, that medical bills have been the number one reason why we filed for bankruptcy in the United States.
I didn't know that.
So before you get any planned procedure, obviously if it's an emergency, you just gonna have to rock with it. You have to have a discussion with your doctor's office, the hospital, everybody, because we've all gotten the bills like what is going on. So yeah, those medical bills will turn your credit upside down for real.
Yeah.
Any more questions about derogatory items? We gotta,
Michelle had a question about the fall off period. Michelle, can you unmute yourself?
hey,
Michelle
Michelle.
Dawkins, I'm sorry, we have two Michelles.
Michelle, you had any questions? So tell us what the
I can
follow-up period is.
Read it. If she's not.
I'm like, I gotta read it. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I was asking, will the items automatically fall off at 7 years, or do you have to request them to be removed?
What, like a collection, Michelle?
Yes.
So as long as they don't sell it off to another collection agency, it will. So that's how they keep it alive. They sell it off before the 7-year period. So that starts the 7 years back
All
over
the way
again.
over again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The only thing that truly falls off after
Okay.
the time frame is a public record.
Wow.
I know.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Michelle.
And the last thing, I think we probably won't be able to address this today, but Tennille, I think we, in the future, in the Mighty Networks, please join. Her question was, will there be a brief discussion
Yeah.
regarding establishing business credit versus personal credit?
I know nothing about that.
And
I'm
how the
sorry.
two are related.
Right.
But we definitely, and thank you later, we'll start to talk about that later, but not in today's topic.
And I would love to hear it.
Yeah. No, thank you for that suggestion. We will definitely cover that. Y'all have some really, really good questions. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, ladies.
Yeah.